If you drive around Iowa City or Coralville in the last few years, you're gonna notice that roundabouts are popping up everywhere. There's like a construction site like every other block, and adding the roundabout to replace an existing intersection. But it's not just here locally. It's across the nation they're gaining popularity. So what's fueling this popularity? Why are they becoming so popular all of a sudden when they've been used in Europe and for the last 100 years, yet the US has kind of ignored it? Let's dive into that in this video and find out 3 reasons of why they're becoming so popular once again in the US. Okay. There's 3 things that are fueling the popularity of roundabouts. First, it's safety. Second, it creates less congestion. And third, they're better for the environment. So let's dive into those 3 things. But before we do, let's talk about how they work. Roundabouts are essentially circular intersections. The tighter the circle, the more the traffic has to slow down. So sometimes we use them then as mechanisms to slow traffic down at certain areas, or we'll make the circle a little wider so that we can let traffic move still at the same speed as it was prior to hitting that intersection. But here's how they work. The traffic in the circle has the right of way, while the traffic entering the circle must yield to the traffic coming from the left. It's a pretty simple setup. They're not really that hard to understand or use. Let's dive into the 3 reasons of why they're becoming so popular, beginning with safety. Look, roundabouts reduce the likelihood of a severe collision. And the severe collision is the type that occurs with a traditional intersection. They eliminate these types of collisions, head-on and high-speed right-angle crashes, which are common at stop signs and traffic signals. The circular design forces drivers to slow down, and then the one-way travel reduces the chances of a head-on collision. There's no opportunity for running a red light in these kinds of collisions, which are the most severe types of crashes that occur. The type of collisions that we see that cause severe injury are head-on collisions, right-angle collisions, and left-turn collisions. In 2021, 24% of all crash deaths occurred at intersections in the US. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety has done a number of studies at the safety of roundabouts, and they found that simply by changing to a roundabout over a traditional intersection will reduce the crashes by up to 62% and injuries by up to 87%. Even the Federal Highway Administration has endorsed roundabouts for their safety benefits. But that's just safety. Let's talk about congestion. They also improve traffic flow and they help reduce congestion at intersections. Vehicles can continuously move through the roundabout, and there are fewer stops and delays than at a traditional intersection where stop signs or traffic signals are used. The constant traffic movement also helps keep traffic flowing more smoothly, especially during peak hours than in a traditional intersection. In areas that have adopted roundabouts have seen a decrease in congestion as cars don't spend a lot of time sitting there at red lights. Notably, traffic doesn't get backed up for vehicles attempting a left turn, as there are no left turns. Note, a single lane can only accommodate about up to 25,000 cars per day. So if you need to accommodate more cars going through that intersection, you'll need to use a multi-lane roundabout. Look, the 3rd reason they're becoming so popular is we're becoming very environmentally conscientious, and they're better for the environment. Simply by reducing the number of stops, we're also reducing the number of hard accelerations, which reduces the amount of emissions and fuel consumption. The smoother flow of traffic means there's less cars spending time idling, which is also better for air quality. Look, there's a lot of examples of roundabouts across the world, but there's one city, and it happens to be in the US, that has the most number of roundabouts per capita, and that is Carmel, Indiana. The mayor there, Jim Brainerd, has added more than 150 during his time. He's a 7-year term mayor. He got rid of traffic lights in favor of doing roundabouts, where this was more of like a suburban setup in the town prior to him taking office. He's seen an example of safety where they've had only 2.4 deaths per 100,000 people there, whereas in nearby Indianapolis, which is right close nearby within like 30 minutes, they've had 14.2 fatality rate per 100,000. And the national average is 12.9. So again, they're just at a little over 2. They say they saved a lot of money too by converting to these roundabouts because a single traffic light costs around $400,000. And then it uses $10,000 a year in electricity. And it also needs maintenance and needs to be replaced every 20 years. So a roundabout is much more efficient and cost-effective for cities. There's a reason though, if we look at why the US hasn't adopted as much as Europe, and that has to do with radial design versus grid design. Look, in Europe, they use a radial design setup for most of their neighborhoods, and in the US, we're more of a grid design. And that has a lot to do with what the intended use was in designing these neighborhoods and areas. A grid design is designed to have the most number of homes and for car use, whereas a radial design is better adapted for pedestrians, not cars. A city that adopted this was Washington, D.C., where they have a lot of monuments and a design. The whole city actually was a planned development, but they have a lot of monuments that were designed to be like the focal points for certain spots in the city. So a radial design was built around the monuments that they had planned out for the entire city. So what's going on? Why are they suddenly becoming so popular? Look, in the US now, we're adopting about 500 to 700 roundabouts per year. This is a drastic uptick. And despite their proven benefits, there has been a need for public education and driver adaptation in the US because a lot of people just don't understand how to use them. Ongoing research continues to optimize roundabouts for design for various contexts. And this includes urban, suburban, and rural settings, and for different types of vehicles, including emergency and large commercial vehicles. The increasing adoption of roundabouts in the US is a testament to their effectiveness in improving traffic flow and safety. However, it also represents a huge cultural shift in American road design and philosophy, increasingly aligned with the global best practices in traffic management. I, for one, love roundabouts, and just coming back from Scotland, noticed how big they can get, where they'll have 3 or 4 lane roundabouts, which are a little confusing at first, but after you go through a couple of them, they're very easy to understand. I hope you enjoyed this video and learning a little bit about what's going on in real estate, development, and trends right here in Iowa City. Make sure to subscribe down below and check back for my next video. Thanks for watching.